Good evening, this is BelGeode and we are back with some more Aerofly FS2. Now before I begin, I want to give a huge shout out to GorillaMe for the idea for this episode. I actually wasn't going to do anything on Aerofly 2 this week, but I was watching one of his live streams a few days ago and we were talking back and forth about flying over the Grand Canyon in simulators, and it suddenly dawned on me, I could do that. I could make that happen. And I'm going to use Aerofly FS2 because I want to see how they have modeled the Grand Canyon and if it looks real enough to fly in. So, we are here at Grand Canyon National Airport, and let's hop in and get started. Now before we get started, I want to remind you that even though I'm recording this in the Oculus Rift using Aerofly's settings and OBS, it is still only recording one of my eyes. So I think it's recording the left eye. So I'm going to try and see if I can remember to kind of keep in the middle so that way you can see the HUD a little bit more clearly. However, don't blame me if I start moving my head from side to side because I'm in the Oculus Rift, and that's what you do. It's just so natural for you to move your head. Alright, let me make sure everything is set to go here. I think so. There's really nothing that we have to do. It's not like this thing's study level. And I do notice that they have a bunch of 3D objects here. You can still tell that there's a little bit of work that could be done, but other than that, it does look pretty good. The trees look decent, even though they're not fully 3D trees, similar to DCS World Normandy, which I just picked that up over the weekend as well. But as far as trees go, they're not bad. You can tell that they are 2D, X-shaped pictures slapped onto each other, but I love the realistic touch that they have, so I can let it slide this time. Alright, but enough about trees. How about we take a look at our flight plan today and see how we're going to get to Vegas. At first glance, our flight plan looks pretty straightforward. We're going to take off to the south, and we're going to head west towards Grand Canyon West Airport, and then we're going to pop by the southern side of Lake Mead to see if we can find a Hoover Dam, turn around over at Vegas McCarran Airport, and then come in to land at Nellis Air Force Base. However, that whole right side of the screen there is where the fun really starts, because all of that is the Grand Canyon. Okay, so now that we know what the plan is, first thing we have to do is we need to get to our runway, and we are going to be taking off from the opposite end, so we're actually facing the wrong way. We need to go all the way back over there to the beginning of runway 21, and then we can take off in that direction. Alright, so I think everything is just about set. Just as a quick disclaimer, guys, you might want to have a barf bag handy on this, because if this thing is ultra realistic, I hold no responsibility for you puking on your computer or your cell phone while watching this. Alright, let's get the brakes off and we'll throttle up a little bit and get going. Now, I do have a slight criticism here of the FA-18 model in this particular sim. The nose wheel steering is not as sharp, if you will, as it could be. I don't think we're going to be able to make a UE here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to taxi down past that Learjet and that Cessna, and then we'll make like a really wide U-turn the opposite way. And I gotta say, just as an aside, I really like the way that they've modeled asphalt in this thing. I know it seems like it's a stupid thing to like, but I really like how they did the asphalt. I think it's really good. Alright, right here seems a good place for our turnaround. And I can just imagine all the people back at the terminal like, look at that fool in the Marine Corps Hornet doing donuts on our apron. What is wrong with him? Don't know, but I'll be gone soon enough, so you won't have to worry about it. Alright, I think we will make it. Yes. Okay. So we'll go back to the opposite side of the Learjet here, and we should be able to taxi to runway 21 without any issues. Very nice. Now, even though I kind of poo-pooed a little bit on the Hornet, I do want to give IPACS some props on this. Their static aircraft. Now, yes, I know this sim does not have AI traffic or, active ATC, that sort of thing. But one place where they do excel is with these static aircraft. Look at that. That almost looks real. Now, if you can imagine them putting the same kind of dedication into making these static AI aircraft into movable AI aircraft, I'm pretty sure that they've got a winner right here. This looks even better than some of the static aircraft that I've seen in X-Plane. And you know how highly I think of X-Plane. So there you go, IPACS, something to shoot for there. I'm sure you're probably already working on it. A number of people have already commented that IPACS has a bunch of irons in the fire, so I'm really curious to see how everything pans out for them. Okay, but here is runway 21. And of course, I don't see any traffic in either direction. Not that I expected I would. I don't know why I keep doing that. I tell you, it's a force of habit. But let's see if we can get ourselves lined up on the runway here. And folks, look at that asphalt. I know I keep harping on it, but seriously, look at that asphalt. The developers of P3D and FSW and FSX and everybody needs to pay attention to this. X-Plane has already started to make asphalt look like asphalt, but this is above and beyond. This is really freaking good. This is exactly what it should look like, and I'm telling you right now, what I'm seeing in the Oculus Rift, it looks real. It looks 100% real. Okay, but we are ready, so you know what it's time for, folks. Brakes down and throttles up, and I should probably get flaps to half as well. Okay, there we go. Flaps are down. All right, let's do this, folks. Like I said, brakes down, throttles up. And we're going to go to a little bit of an outside view on our takeoff roll here, but let's make sure that we're heading the right way down the runway before we do that. All right, airspeed is alive, and we are a go. I'm telling you, folks, I absolutely love this model. I really do hope that IPACS is going to put a little bit more time to flesh this out and make it more along the lines of study level sim. Not that you can really do that with military aircraft, unless, of course, you're DCS world, but I would love to see some more functionality on these MFDs in particular. Alright, folks, say goodbye to Grand Canyon National Airport. And we are going to head out of this neck of the woods and into the canyon, which is directly up ahead. I do love the scrub grass and everything that's down there, too. That's pretty cool. What I don't like are these clouds. You notice how flat they are. I'm going to keep preaching it, folks. I really hope that everybody gets on board with something along the lines of True Sky, because that really fleshes out clouds the way that I feel they should look. Not 100% sold on the whole flat cloud theory. You know, that's just me. That's just me. Alright, but here is the edge of the canyon. So as you can see, we've got a vast expanse ahead of us, and to the left and to the right. And somewhere in there is a Colorado River. And our first task is to find it and then head in the proper direction. We need to be heading west towards the sun. And you know what? I think that deep chasm down there, that should be where it is. Yes, I do believe I have visual on the Colorado River, so let's hit the deck, folks. If you got those barf bags, now is the time to keep those things handy, because it's about to get really intense in here. My big plan as I go through the canyon run is to keep everything above about 300 knots. That's usually our maneuvering speed. I'll try to keep it between 300 and 500 depending on how much real estate we've got to work with here. But for now, we're going to play Star Wars. It'll be just like Beggar's Canyon back home. And from my understanding, the exhaust port that I'm looking for is only 2 meters wide. I think I might be able to hit it, though. Alright, so here we go. Oh, look at that. They've got river rapids down there. That's pretty cool. You know, that's actually one of the things that's on my bucket list. Not flying through the Grand Canyon. Although, yeah, I would kind of like to do that as well. But I've always wanted to go like kayaking or whitewater rafting through the Grand Canyon. So you never know. Maybe if I actually have enough money and vacation time, which seems to be in shorter supply than the money, I'd love to be able to do something like that. I have heard rumors that Flight Sim... Is it Flight Sim Con or Flight Sim Expo that they're calling it now? I don't remember. I think it might be Flight Sim Expo. But I have heard rumors that they are taking the show on the road, and next year it will be in Vegas, so you never know. Maybe I might have the opportunity to go kayaking after all. Don't ask me how I'm going to get to the Grand Canyon or how that's all going to work, but yeah, that's what's on the cards anyway. But look at those rapids. Wow. I'm also going to give you a little bit of a caution here. Even though they have a phenomenally detailed and complex mesh, it's not perfect. There are some areas where the river might appear to be going uphill or downhill and just not completely flat. However, I'm willing to overlook that because everything that I'm seeing so far just looks so freaking cool. And they've got it like almost down to the meter, so the small areas that, you know, they may have messed up a little bit on, I am not too worried about it. This would be a job and a half for any developer to go through every square inch of the Grand Canyon just to make sure that the river's flat. Yeah, I'm not going to hold it against them. I'm really not. Alright, let's gain a little bit of airspeed here, because we are just below 300, so I want to keep it up and above. Kind of narrow around here though, so maybe I shouldn't. Okay, you know what? Let's go up a little bit here. Alright, yeah, it looks like we got a little bit of breathing room, so we'll just go ahead and swing through the side here. And I hope you guys are holding up so far, because the craziest parts of the canyon have not yet come up. So I'm going to have to do some fancy flying here just to get through all of this. It is going to be fun, I will promise you that. It is going to be a lot of fun. Alright, there we go. We should be able to make it around this bend easy enough. Ah, and here we have a little bit of a straightaway. This is going to be good. Okay, so we can gain a little bit more airspeed. So far, so good. So far, I'm really loving this. I mean, with the exception of the clouds, which I've already beaten that to death, how I don't think that they really help the sim much. The scenery that we're looking at is outstanding. It's absolutely outstanding. And even though you can tell in some areas where there's a little bit of distortion, I thought they did a really good job mapping the texture to the mesh. I'm not sure what zoom level they have this texture at. I'm assuming it's probably like a zoom level 18 or a zoom level 19. But I gotta tell you folks, as a person who uses Ortho for XP in X-Plane, my hard drive has gigs upon gigs of data for just small areas of Ortho for XP at zoom level 17. And yet, I don't remember exactly how many gigs it is to download this thing, but it's definitely nowhere even remotely close to my external drive that has all the Ortho photos. I want to know, what's their secret? How are they able to do this? How are they able to make this thing so realistic and so tight? And bear with me here, I'm going to swing around the other way here. I mean, that looks good. The only negative side effects that I can see here is, you see those little outcropping areas there? You can't really model something like that, so it ends up looking a little weird because it's flat, but it's really the rock itself outcropping and casting a shadow underneath it. But again, that's like minor stuff that I can't really complain about. Overall, they did a pretty good job. Well, except on that one mountain that we just passed. But you know what? I'm going to let that slide too. because I am having a lot of fun with this. This is just too cool. Okay, I want to say there should be a sharp turn coming up here, if I remember correctly. No, I don't think this is it, but I'm pretty sure it's coming up soon. However, this will give us a great opportunity to go outside the aircraft and take a look at what it looks like flying through. You know what's funny? As I do this, I'm reminded of that one Tomcattery episode that I did in the F-14, of course. I believe I called it Thunder Down Under. It was the one that also featured guest vocals by my good buddy NovaWing24. And we both flew through the Grand Canyon in FSX. And I remember thinking that was pretty impressive, just in a flat monitor. This, there are no words to describe just how impressive this is right now. This just amps everything up to the next level. And I keep saying it, IPACS, if you can get a Tomcat in this thing, oh my god, I will video the heck out of it. Absolutely, guaranteed, 100%. That is just awesome. Alright, let's gain a little bit more speed here. We got some more straightaways, and I'm gonna go right into the crack here. I know they say crack kills, but not today, son. Not today. I got this. I have got this. Alright, let's pull up just a touch though, because yeah, that mountainside looks a little steep there. We'll flip ourselves around the other way. You'll notice that I'll do that from time to time. Part of the reason why I do that is because it's just easier than pulling negative G's to swing around the opposite way. So that's kind of like a quick shortcut. I'm not sure if they do that in real life. I want to say they probably do, but don't quote me on that, since obviously I'm not a real-life Marine or naval aviator. Just a guy who likes to do this on his computer wearing a funky-ass headset. So there you go. There you go. Alright, and I still haven't seen our sharp turn coming up yet. But I think we need to go this way. We almost went the other way there. Alright, this is a little disconcerting. What is going on here? There seems to be an awful lot of deep shadows on this, which of course means I can't actually see where the rocks are on the left side. So you know what? I'm going to hug the light. Yeah, we're going to stay to the light here and hope that I have enough space to maneuver around here. Wow, okay. Now, I'm not really nervous about it, but yeah, that is a little bit cause for concern. And actually, here is our really steep turn. So let me slow down a bit here. Come on, baby, you can do this. Yes, I remember this when we were flying in FSX. So there should be another sharp turn to the left. That's it. And there's the rapids. Okay, I think we made it, folks. I think we made it. Wow. Man, I can't even tell you just how big of a grin I've got on my face right now doing this. This is the best idea. Gorilla, I am so glad that you suggested this idea, because this just takes the cake. This is so awesome. Folks, if you ever plan on getting VR and plan on doing flight simulation, yeah, you got to do something like this. I know the majority of the flight sim community is more into like commercial aviation and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I don't begrudge you quote-unquote tube-liner guys. I used to do that. For 2 years straight, I have flown everything. Boeing, Airbus, the whole 9 yards. I know what it's like. And I know how people pride themselves on learning all about the aircraft, especially the study levels like the PMDGs and all of that. For me, it's lost its luster. It's no longer fun. And that's the real reason why we do this stuff anyway, right? Because it's fun. Even getting into an aircraft in real life, you don't do it because it's a chore. You do it because it's fun. So that's why I tend to gravitate more towards the military aircraft or the helicopters. Although helicopters, that's a work in and of itself. That's a full-time job flying those suckers. But yeah, this is what it's all about for me, is having fun. And I keep saying it, there is no greater thrill than blazing through a virtual Grand Canyon here, just feet away from certain death on one of these rocks, and living to tell the tale. And better yet, sharing it with all of you guys. So I sincerely hope that you haven't had to use those barf bags as of yet, because we still got a lot more canyon coming up before I actually decide to get out of here and head to Vegas. Now, speaking of things like motion sickness and barf bags and so on, I've been getting a lot of questions as to whether or not doing this thing in VR actually does in fact induce motion sickness. I'm going to give you a little bit of a tip that I use to help prevent that. Of course, the greatest tip is making sure you've got over 90 frames per second in this thing, and those frames per second are different than what you see on a monitor. The monitor could still have like 30 frames per second, but as long as you're over 90 frames per second, you're less susceptible to motion sickness. The other thing that I do, you'll notice the little pipper in the center. That's the little circle with the sticks coming out to the left, to the right, and to the center. That is what I use as a reference point when doing maneuvers like, say, for example, a snap roll. If you focus on that pipper while you're going around, you're going to be less susceptible to getting motion sickness. Or if the pipper is off the HUD, there's that little W-shaped thing above the pipper, the waterline mark. You can use that as a focal point as well. The one thing you don't want to do is look out to either side while you're making maneuvers. Unless, of course, you're focusing on, say, for example, a ground spot or an enemy in the case of DCS, where you actually have that as a point of reference. But if you're just kind of looking off to the side and then you start flipping around and doing stuff like that, guaranteed it's going to make you a little bit more disoriented than normal. So keep that in mind if you're ever in a position to do the kind of things that I am showing off to you right now. Alright, let's see. It looks like it's opening up a little bit more, so I'm thinking we've got to be getting close to our waypoint. I deliberately put a waypoint, one of the few waypoints that I could find that's actually in the Grand Canyon, but that waypoint is also close to the airport that we're going to use as a reference point, and that is Grand Canyon West Airport. So as soon as we're done coming through here, it should open up a little bit more, at which point in time I will check our HSI, which is of course the screen in the middle below me here, and see exactly where we are in relation to everything else around us. But for now, let's get a little bit more airspeed, because it looks like we've got a lot of straightaways here, and I love straightaways. I'm still not too keen on all those shadows off to the left though. Yeah, there's something up with that. Something about those don't look quite right, and I can't quite put my finger on it as of yet. Alright, but be that as it may, I'm starting to see scrub grass along the sides of the riverbank here, so that is looking good. Sweet. And it's gained a little bit of altitude here so I can do some maneuvers. Alright, I hope you're focusing on that pipper. That was a pop quiz there, just to see if you paid attention to what I told you before about preventing motion sickness. So I hope you grasped that. If not, well, I guess it's time to empty that barf bag, huh? Alright, let's get back down to the deck. Enough of these shenanigans up top side here. Okay. Alright, so you can see on the HSI down here that our flight path is a little bit ahead of us. What I can't see is that waypoint that I placed. I'm gonna have to see if there's a way that I can zoom out the HSI in this aircraft. Of course, I can't do that right now because, yeah, we've got some navigating that we need to do. Gotta aviate, navigate, and communicate. I'm communicating with you, I'm navigating via the HSI, and I am aviating. In fact, let's aviate from the outside for a few. Okay, guys, is it just me, or did you notice some trees on that outside pass? I could have sworn I just saw a little grove of trees. As a matter of fact, look at that up ahead. Is that another grove of trees? Holy crap, it is! Look at those trees down there just chilling. Wow, I wonder if that's there in real life too. Huh. That's pretty neat. I've never noticed stuff like that before. I don't see any more though, but I do see like what appears to be, I don't know, either cactus or scrub grass. I don't know what you would call that kind of vegetation along the riverbanks. But it's obvious that this area is getting a little bit more fertile, and it looks like the Colorado River is widening out a little bit. So that tells me we are getting way closer to Lake Mead. This is good. This is very good. However, I still need to figure out where that waypoint is, so I'm looking at the HSI right now. There's got to be a way for me to zoom this puppy out. So you know what? I'm going to take a break from our little canyon tour here. First we'll get some altitude to make sure we're not going to smack into the side of something. And I want to try one of these switches here, like the one in the upper left. Let's see what that does. First off, the switch doesn't appear to be moving. Oh, wait, you know what that's doing? That's actually our heading bug. Okay, what about the right side? That is our course needle, which of course we're set to GPS, so yeah. Okay, that's not going to work. I don't think there is a way to zoom out this HSI. So again, IPACS, I implore you, please add more to this F-18 Hornet. I will fly the ever-living hell out of it if you add more to this thing. At least give me some more options there. Alright, I am pretty sure that we are close to that airport, though. I just have that feeling. So let's take a quick look here. Nope, I don't see it. Alright, you know what? Let's head back down and we'll keep an eye on the HSI here and see if we can locate it. I do know that we need to be heading west, so this is about as westerly as we're going to get for now. We'll just keep following the Colorado River here until we can see our waypoint. Alright, I'm going to bring our speed back up here because I did say I wanted to keep it over 300. There's a reason why I'm doing that. If you look at a lot of the information on aircraft like the Hornet or the Falcon or the Tomcat or any of the Gen 3, Gen 4 jets, they have what's called a cornering speed or a maneuvering speed. That's a speed that you do not want to be below, otherwise you could in theory induce a stall even though you're going too fast to actually stall. So yeah, they call it coffin corners as well. That's one of those, I guess, when you're trying to make a turn like this but you're coming a little too slow, basically you rob yourself of airspeed quickly, and that's all she wrote. So you got to make sure that you keep your maneuvering speed up. And if I remember correctly from what I've read about the F-18 Hornet, your maneuvering speed is definitely over 300, probably closer to 400. So that's why I'm opening her up a little bit here, especially since we got a lot of real estate now. It's not as narrow as it was in some of the other areas that we've been through. And we should be good to go with this. Let's head back down here. Oh, it looks like we got a little bit of an S-turn. Oh, wait a minute. What is that? I'm trying to see if that is our waypoint. You know what? I think that might be our waypoint. The question is, where exactly is it in relation to where we are? It almost looks like we are past our flight path. So I'm hoping the river is going to loop back around and put us on the other side of the flight path. Otherwise, this might be it for the canyon running. We'll have to get some altitude and get our bearings. But if I remember correctly, I do think the river does make kind of like a U shape. So we'll just wait for the bend in the river, and we'll hope that that will put us back on track here. You can see my heading at the top here, so I'm not exactly going in the direction that I would like to be to get to Vegas, but since this is the Colorado River, we do know where it spits us out, and it is close to Vegas, so eventually we're going to get there. If you look at the HSI, you'll see it swinging around right now, so I think this is the bend that we were looking for, and flight path just went off the screen. Wait, is that it in the corner there? I think it is. And what is that? Huh. I think that might be a VOR. I don't think that's our airport. We're looking for 1GS. That's the airport that we're looking for. I think that might be it, though. Okay, we're definitely getting closer. Alright, I'm just going to keep following it until we are pretty much on top of our flight path marker again. And then we'll pull up and catch our bearings. We've got to be really close to it because look how open this is. The Grand Canyon has a certain character to it in different stages. There's some stages that are really narrow. There's others that are just like grand vistas. This is one of those grand vista stages, so I'm not too worried about being lost at all. I just want to make sure I can find that airport. Wait, I think that's the waypoint that we're looking for there. Look at the top. Yep, right there at the top of the HSI. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Sweet. And it looks like the river has changed colors again, which tells me that the ortho photos that they're using for this section were taken at a different time of the year, because I don't know how much you know about rivers, but rivers will often change colors depending on what time of the year it is. I don't know if there's a term for that. A riverologist, maybe? I don't know. One of you guys will chime in the comments if you know what the scientist is that studies rivers. So yeah, I'd be curious to know what that is. I like being educated by you guys. I know a lot of you guys like to comment and correct me on things that I've done wrong. Bear in mind, I've never said I was an expert on any subject whatsoever. I might be a natural when it comes to certain things, but definitely not an expert. But that being said, I don't mind being corrected, and I usually try not to take everything personally, so I'm fine with that, unless you're gonna be just a real you-know-what when you make your comment. Then I might have to take umbrage with that. But other than that, I do like when you share your knowledge, and I will give you the opportunity to showcase it, so feel free to come at me with that. Alright, I am thinking probably around the next couple of bends here. Oh, look at this little shelf. That's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, we'll just keep following the now green Colorado River. A couple more bends ought to do it, and then we should be able to see the airport. Hey, look at that! There's some kayakers down there, or at least I think those are kayakers. They're probably supposed to be like whitewater rafters or something. Whatever it is, it's something on the river that got captured in this ortho photo. And I see our waypoint directly ahead. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, folks. We are going to go straight, and then we're going to pull up. We'll do a little bit of a loop, probably in Immelman, and then we'll get our bearings. Okay, so now that we're topside, let's take a quick look. The airport should be... There it is. Okay, we are facing the wrong direction, so we're going to need to turn around here. Alright, but there's the mighty Colorado down below, looking as sweet as ever. And man, take in this vista. Okay, so we were down in the weeds with our hair on fire. We were up close and personal, and it looked pretty good down there. But look just how much better it looks up here. Wow. See, when it comes to views like this, I would not want to be in a commercial plane flying over this. I want to be at this altitude, at Angels 12,000 feet in other words. Because this is just perfect. Look at that. That's just so awesome. Alright, I think I see where we need to be, and we're going to start following the path here. I do not recall if the autopilot in this thing actually has a nav hold, but we'll figure it out. In the meantime, again, just look at those vistas. Wow, that's crazy. And actually, you know what? I just noticed something. I've got to make mention of this IPACS here. Okay, so the sun is to the west, right? Yet we've got shadows on the side that's facing the sun. Something's not right with that there. I don't know about that. Yeah, I think this orthophoto was taken in the morning, so I probably should have set it to morning for it to match. It looks a little bit off now that I think about it. But look at that! That is the airport that we were looking for. That is Grand Canyon West Airport, or 1G4. Very nice. Very nice. Alright, so now that we found it, we know that we're on the right path. We're done with the canyon running for now, because to be honest with you, there's not much canyon left. It's just going to start getting really flat, and it's going to empty out into the lake. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to point us along our flight path, and we're going to head straight for the Hoover Dam, and also to Vegas. And we're also going to utilize the autopilot. Like I said, I'm not sure if this thing has a nav hold, but as you can see, there's a heading select on there. So I'm going to go ahead and activate our autopilot in a second. I want to bring us up to about 20,000 feet while I do this here. I think that's just the right altitude to really take in the sights here. Alright, so let's go ahead and get our autopilot on. There we go. Otherwise known as attitude hold in this aircraft. Okay, we are almost there. We're waiting for 20K. Little bit more, a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so we are at Angels 20, and we're just about lined up with our course, so I'm going to go ahead and engage the heading select, and now that I've at least found which one of these switches controls the heading bug, I can make use of that as well. Alright, so heading select. We are going to turn you on after I get this thing properly lined up. There. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Alright, heading select is on, and we are on course, folks. Next stop, Hoover Dam. And if you look out ahead, you can see the beginnings of Lake Mead. Look at that. Wow. Hard to believe we've actually been flying for almost 40 minutes now. But that was just such an awesome ride. And I gotta say, even though I, just called out something that I thought was a little bit odd, then Aerofly FS2 does stuff like this. Look at that. The mesh is just so detailed, and the orthophoto draped over it just right, that this looks amazing. This looks real. This looks real, especially inside the Oculus Rift. It actually feels like I'm flying over the mountains just to the east of Vegas. That's awesome. All flight simulators need to do stuff like this. Maybe not, the exact same way that Aerofly has done it, but at least with the same kind of fidelity. Yeah, that needs to be a thing. Seriously. Wow. I can't stop looking at that. I really can't. And I hope that you appreciate the fact that I'm giving you these outside views, even though I'm sure my head moving around a lot is probably a little bit disconcerting to you. That's just the nature of recording with the Oculus Rift. You want to see it from my point of view as if I were a real pilot in this thing. This is how you do it. Alright, we're a little off course here, so I'm going to swing us to the right a bit. Okay. Now, Cast your attention to the lens flare, the green and the red circle. Right there is where Vegas is located. So it's pretty close. It's right there. Right over there. And in addition to which, the Hoover Dam, which is our next destination, is right around there. So right where the green circle on the lens flare is. I like using the lens flare as my pointer there. So that's going to be the next stop on our little journey here. We're going to hit the deck, and I'm going to do what I did in that Tomcattery episode that featured Nova Wing 24, Thunder Down Under. We're going to go have some fun and shenanigans with the Hoover Dam. So, with that having been said, how about we hit the deck? Whee! Alright, now while I'm coming down, I'm also going to put out our speed brakes. So let me just verify. Okay, speed brakes out. Very nice. Not sure if you're supposed to do it that way in real life, but we'll go right side up here and we'll still leave the speed brakes out as we come down. Just like that, we're already at Angels 12. So we just lost 8,000 feet in less time than it took me to tell you that we just lost 8,000 feet. Alright, speed brakes in. This just feels so cool, folks. This really actually feels like I am a marine aviator in an FA-18 Hornet. That's so cool, man. It's like I look around the aircraft and I look to the back where the speed brakes are, and it feels like I'm actually in a real plane. So that is one of the huge benefits to being in the Oculus Rift. And I'm sure the HTC Vive might probably have the same effect, and I'm pretty sure that the next generation of VR is probably going to blow my mind. I only hope I will live that long to see it. Or at least I hope I will, but tomorrow's promised to no one. But yeah, I'm loving that. Absolutely loving that. Okay, we are almost to the deck, so I will remind you that that bridge over there to the left side, that's where the Hoover Dam is. Right over there. I'll try to put the lens flare on it. Right there. So, you know what comes next. Yep, that's right. Fun and shenanigans. And let me get a little bit of airspeed here as we maneuver our way around. I think we need to go in between those two rocks. And this is the part, folks, where I say, kids, please don't try this at home. And actually, truth be told, I'm more worried about you adults trying this at home, so you don't do this either. Leave this to the professional shenanigan makers. Alright, there it is, folks. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hoover Dam and whatever the name of that bridge is that's just past it that I keep forgetting. And we're going to go outside for a second here. Alley-oop! Now, I don't know about you all, but one time was not enough. Let's do that again. Woohoo! Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You thought I was going to hit the bottom of the Hoover Dam, didn't you? Never, ever underestimate Mr. BelGeode. I've been doing shenanigans like this since longer than you all were alive. No, I joke. I joke. Alright, well that's enough tomfoolery with dams and bridges, so let's make our way to Vegas before the authorities get called on us. Again. Okay, so Vegas is a little bit off to the left, so this little inlet, or I guess you would call that the end of the lake, we're going to need to swing out to the left just past it. So I want to say this might be a quarry or something over here. I don't know. I really don't know too much about Vegas. As I said earlier in this episode, I heard rumors that the Flight Sim Convention is going to be in Vegas, so I hope to learn a lot more about Vegas by then, and hopefully I'll actually be able to attend. I don't see why I wouldn't, but all the same, might as well start planning from now just to make sure I have enough vacation time, because that is the most difficult for me to come by, even more so than the money. Alright, but I don't know about you all, but I've had a whole hell of a lot of fun with this here. The last thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to make a hard right over at McCarran and head to Nellis. But I can't leave well enough alone. Come on now. You know me. You've been watching my channel for long enough, and if this is your first video, well, you should know this. I can't leave well enough alone. McCarran is directly ahead of us. And I gotta do this. I gotta do this for the sake of all Top Gun aficionados and for the sake of Maverick. I'm gonna have to buzz the tower. I've got to do it. It's just a thing. It has to be done, folks. I have to buzz Vegas McCarran Tower. Okay, let's make this happen. So we're still a little ways out, so we're going to get some speed. We're going to do this at over 500 knots. Yeah, I hope they've got their coffee ready because it's about to get real. Alright, let's come down a little bit more. Where is the tower at Vegas anyway? You know what? I don't think I've ever noticed it. I know where all the terminals are. Not sure about the tower. Oh, wait, I think I see it. Yes, sirree. I think I see it. There it is. Okay, let's do this, folks. Uh-huh. It's about to happen. I'd rather be doing this in a Tomcat IPACS. Whee! But there we go. That's as good as it's gonna get. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. One of your snot-nosed marine jockeys just did a flyby on my tower at over 500 knots. I want some butts! I've had it! And I do like the way that they did this terminal. You can see the cargo terminal over there, so all the UPS and the FedEx, and then there's the other terminal that has aircraft like Janet Airlines, which if you don't know, Janet Airlines is not really on the books per se, but it's the airline that the workers take to get to Area 51. You didn't hear that from me. That might be classified. I might have to kill you. However, I see something else that we can do. Buzzing the strip in Vegas, anyone? Might as well. I mean, hell, we're gonna go out with a bang. You know, as much fun as that was, I really don't think I got the full effect of it. I mean, it's all great and all that we're doing the outside views so I can show you cinematically how cool it looks and whatnot. But really, the whole point of this video and all of these types of Oculus Rift experience videos is to give you the Oculus Rift experience. So, with that having been said, there's downtown, there's the strip. We're going to try this again, one more time for the man in the front row, using the Oculus Rift inside the cockpit. So that way you get the actual pilot's eye view. Alright, So let me go ahead and line up here. We are on base leg for our Las Vegas Strip pass here. We see two roads. We want the one to the right. And I'm pretty sure I saw trees in the middle of that road, but we won't mention that too loudly here. Alright, here we go, folks. Here we go. We're going to start it off with, what is that, Mandalay Bay and the Luxor, and I don't know the names of all of these places. I think that's MGM Grand. Is there a place called Circus around here? I think that might be it. Alright. Now the building coming up I do know. That is Trump Tower, so we'll avoid that one like the plague. And finally, this Space Needle here, which I don't know the name of. I'm just going to call it Space Needle because that's what it looks like. Awesome. So there we go. Now I feel satisfied. Now I feel like I accomplished something in our visit to Vegas. So the last thing on the agenda before I let you all go today, we're going to land at Nellis Air Force Base. Now, why did I pick Nellis instead of just landing at McCarran? Well, aside from the fact that I'm flying a military aircraft, and it is more common for military aircraft to land at Nellis, I also want to test a theory. When we started out, we saw GA aircraft and biz jets at Grand Canyon Airport. When we overflew McCarran, we saw commercial planes, all looking really good. I want to see if this holds true for a military base. So, I want you to look with me and see if we can see. Let's see, what would they have at Nellis? F-15s, perhaps? Yeah, as a matter of fact, that does look like a couple of flight lines of F-16s. Or F-15s, excuse me, F-15 Eagles. And they should also have some heavies, I would imagine. You know, like tankers, maybe an AWACS or two, something like that. Yep, those definitely look like heavies. Actually, that even looks like a C-130 down there. Interesting. Alright, so here's the plan, folks. We're going to come in on runway 21 right, since the wind is favoring that direction. So, we've got the little racetrack here. I do not know the name of this racetrack. I'm sure one of you all will help me out in the comments, or maybe I'll just put an annotation up. But yes, that is going to be my turn point. As soon as we get past this racetrack, we're going to turn around and head towards runway 21 right. So I'm also losing airspeed here. Okay, there we go. We're sufficiently past the racetrack. Let's go ahead and get flaps 1. And we'll keep swinging it around. Okay, I think we're low enough for gear, so gear down. Keep bringing it around, and let's go flaps 2. Wait, hold on. I want to make sure I'm lined up first. Okay, we're good. Flaps 2. Okay, so the right side runway is the one that we want. That is going to be 21 right. And remember, our airspeed or our landing speed should be roughly around 130 knots. I might go a little bit slower because, as I stated in the very first video that I did with Aerofly FS2, the fuel weights and actually the weight of the aircraft itself is not perfectly modeled. So we can afford to come in really slow, whereas if we were in a real Hornet, this would be pretty close to, if not at, stall speed. So just kind of keep that in mind. I'm also watching that AOA indexer on the left-hand side of the HUD there. Right now it says we're coming in too fast, but we're only at 118 knots, so that's not right. Okay, now it makes more sense. It's an angle of attack indexer, so our nose was a little too high. Now we've got the donut, we're looking good. Let's bring this baby home and start dropping some power. There we go. We're floating, but not too much. And we are down. Beautiful. Speed brake going out. And now that we are below 90 knots, I'm going to start giving love taps on the brakes. I think that's our turn off right there, so we should be able to make it. Yep, just like that. The only way we could have stopped quicker is if we would have used our arresting hook and had cables across the runway. But yes, welcome to Nellis Air Force Base. Let me put the speed brakes away here. Alright, so where did we see those F-15s? You know what? I think that's them over there. That's where we're going to park it for this evening, and that's where I will call this video done. So let me just taxi over here really quick. And once again, I love the ground textures. Even though this is not asphalt, this is more like concrete. This concrete looks like concrete. I kind of like this. I kind of like this. Good on you, Aerofly FS2, for making it like that. That is pretty awesome. And looks like we've also got some cover there. So yeah, I think I want to park inside of one of those. Okay, so how about this flight line here? We'll pull up beside these girls and we'll park under the cover. Right about there. Yeah, we'll pick the first one there, and that's exactly where we're going to call it for today. So I really hope that you enjoyed my little Grand Canyon tour there and subsequent shenanigans near the Hoover Dam and over by Vegas. And once again, I want to give a really huge shout out to GorillaMe for the idea behind this episode. If you're not already following his channel, please take a moment to go to his channel, subscribe, and watch some of his live streams. He usually live streams on the weekend, but he's got some great stuff and he's got such an awesome personality. Alright, parking brakes are on. There we go. And we are just about done with this episode. So, thank you as always for watching. This has been BelGeode. I have been flying in Aerofly FS2 in the FA-18 Charlie model Hornet. If you enjoy what you've seen, please feel free to give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And also, take the time to head over to Gorilla's page and subscribe to his channel. Alrighty folks, that will do it for me. So, I hope you all have an excellent evening, and I will talk to you really soon. Ciao!